right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on? How are you feeling? I hope that you're doing well. Listen, thank you for being a part of this amazing night. Welcome to Better Podcasts with yours truly, DMP Speaks. We're going to have a great show. As you can see, I'm not by myself tonight. You don't have to just listen to my voice. We got an amazing woman here. We have an amazing sister that you guys are going to meet. And I'll get to there in just a moment. But welcome to Better Podcast with yours truly, DMP Speaks. If you don't know who I am, my name is David M. Pinkston, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I am an empowerment speaker. I'm a board certified Christian counselor, but I'm also a family restoration specialist, which means I help to grow and improve and rebuild your family dynamic. And I do these podcasts every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I need you guys to do me a favor. Please share this with someone because, tonight is going to be a little different. It's not so much of a topic that I have. And in celebration of Women's History Month, I decided to have my sister come on and share a little bit about her story and her business and what she does. So I want to introduce Transformational Coach Ty Jackson. She's going to tell you quite a bit about herself, but I need you guys to do me a favor before we get into this. I need you guys to share this. I've shared this live already. I know she's shared this live. She's a wonderful person. I met her through our business coach that we have, and I just heard her enthusiasm is just really honestly through the roof, and I love it because what you see is what you get. I'll say it again. What you see is what you get, and I love her energy, and you're going to be able to definitely be blessed and be inspired and be motivated. So with that, Ty, what's going on?
Well, good evening. First and foremost, thank you so much, Mr. Pinkston. It is such an honor to be asked to speak in honor of Women's History Month. And, this idea that it was Women's History Month, it was new to me. I'm like, oh, I thought it was just March. This is spring month, but no, it's Women's History Month. But I'm a woman, so I'm celebrating myself every day. I'm celebrating women every single day. So when the month pops up, it's just another day, another month for me to celebrate myself and to celebrate women and mothers out there. So I am so excited as always and so grateful for this opportunity to be here to speak.
Definitely. So you see it as she's already speaking. She's speaking with so much vigor and so much energy. So we're going to definitely have a good show. Please, again, share this with your friends. Share this with your sisters. Share this with your mama. Share this with your aunts. Just share, because I believe even in my life, my wife, my sister to go on and be with the Lord, my niece, my mom. I have some incredible women in my life. So I just want to celebrate you, not just in March, but every day. But I felt like since we're already celebrating, let's celebrate with triumph, and we're going to talk about that. So, Ty, tell us about yourself, and then tell us about your business. But kind of start with yourself. Like, what's your story?
Yes, well, my name is Ty Jackson, and I am an 80s baby with a curious spirit on a mission to help single mothers transform. Now, I am originally born and raised in Camden, New Jersey, and if you're not familiar with that, that is the smallest city in New Jersey. And I'm an 80s baby, so you don't have to be Nino Brown to understand the chokehold that crack had on the city in the 80s at that time. And as a result, there were many single mother homes. There were also a lot of parentless homes, but many single mother homes. So for me growing up, this was something that I seen. This was kind of like the norm. So it was unfortunately no surprise for me that I would grow up and, become a single mother, because I didn't see the error in this. I didn't see the fault in it. And it was upon becoming a single mother that I realized this is not idea. This is not the life that I wanted to live. So I embarked on a journey of healing, because prior to becoming a single mother, I guess I could say I was a single mother by choice because I chose to leave a relationship that was not serving me. So I
Mm.
guess I kind of became a single mother by choice. And upon leaving this relationship, I had to go on this dynamic healing journey of figuring out who I was and figuring out how I would change the narrative for myself, because I knew for sure that I was a single mother, but I did not want, I have two little boys. I didn't want them to end up in a relationship or dynamic where they would force women to be single mothers or leave women to be single mothers. So I
Mm.
knew that something had to change, but it had to change in me because I'm the only person that I had control over. So I embarked on this healing journey of figuring out what it was in me that needed to change so that I would not find myself in this situation again. Because although I am a single mother, that is not the end all that be all. You know, I certainly understand the importance of a family and the dynamic of a strong family. So in my endeavor to reclaim my womanhood and restore my family, I embarked on this healing journey of self-awareness to better understand myself and to change myself to become this dynamic mother who, while being a single woman, I could still raise super kids and also change the things necessary in me to find a better mate and rebuild my family and crush these generational curses that plague our families, that plague our
Okay.
children.
Mhm.
So
No,
yeah,
I love
that
what you
is.
said. There was so much
Mhm,
there. I'm sorry because I gotta stop you for a second.
mhm,
You talked about by choice. You mentioned that was a choice. Can you kind of talk about that for a little bit when it comes to your story? Just by choice.
oh,
That I wrote that down. By choice.
yes, certainly. So I was in, I spent 7 years in a relationship that just, did not serve me. It was abusive in every single way, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. And like every situation, sometimes you have to be torn down at your very bottom before you realize, like, hey, something is going on.
Mm.
This is not right. This is not life. Literally, that's what it was for me. I said, this is not life. And if I continue to live this life, this is a toxic situation for myself and my children. What
Yeah,
am I showing my boys?
that's right.
And what I realized was that I was perpetuating a situation that I had grown up in. I was literally reliving my own childhood. And
Mm.
there were moments that I felt as I was reliving my childhood and watching my children, realizing that this is what they see. There is nothing that is going to stop them from reliving the same thing. And it was just, I absolutely knew that this stops here. So as much as it was for me, it was for my children. It was for my whole legacy, because I ensure that my children will never have this type of adulthood, not even just childhood. The childhood has moved into an adulthood, and I didn't want my children to relive this. And I also knew for me that there was so much more, because I wasn't being allowed to be who I was truly am. I wasn't being allowed to uh, use the gifts that God had given me to
Mm.
impact the world. So I left by choice, because I literally left to save my life and my children's life. So again, I understand that some of us become single mothers by choice. We all don't, find someone, have a baby, and this person leaves, or, you know, um, yeah, it's not always about being left. Sometimes it's about making that choice to leave. So that was the by choice situation for me.
Now, and I love what you said. This is another thing that you said that caught my attention. You didn't want your boys
Hmm.
to allow other women to be single mothers. If
Yeah.
I'm saying it right,
Yeah.
I think it's so important, and I teach this to my son as well, that even if that happens, make sure that you still have a relationship, not just with the child or children, but you treat that mother, even if she's not your wife or your girlfriend, with respect.
Yes.
And she's not just your baby's mama. She's
Mm-hmm.
your child or your children's mother.
Yes.
Can you speak on that? Do you? Because I get so irritated when I hear baby mamas, baby daddies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a negative tone with that, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of times we say that, and it's just something that we say. But I look at my sister. God, she's going on to be with God. She did everything to get my niece's father to be a part of her life, but he was dealing with his own things. But she never, not one time, did she ever pull him down in front of us. She will always have some issues that he has to work through. He loves you, but we can't put our lives on hold.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that's really important. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. I literally remember when the song came out, that's just my baby daddy. So I literally remember when the term baby daddy, baby mom came out, because that's not, people hear it, but it's a relatively new term. I literally remember the song when that came out, and there was a connotation that came along with the term that gave the impression that if you are a baby mom or a baby dad, that you have to have this negative dynamic in a relationship, that you have to dislike each other, that you have to hate each other. And it's continually perpetuated. And again, I am all about destroying stereotypes, because sometimes we don't understand that these things are thrusted on us. So typically, I don't like to say single moms. I say super moms. And I never refer to my children's father as my baby dad, because those boys are not babies, but he's my children's father. And the best thing that the two of us could have done was to separate, because the issue we had was the relationship. Once we were out of a relationship, I said, we don't have any problems. And we both agreed that the relationship didn't work, but we love these children.
Right.
And because of that, I allow him to be a father. Even things that I may not agree with, I realize, hey, he's their father. He's going to be their father for their life. So I can't criticize the way he parents. And I realize that the connotation of baby dad and baby mom makes us believe that we have to act a certain way to the other parent, especially if we're not in a relationship. And because I live by no stereotypes, I allow him to be the father, because my boys need to know that they're loved.
Yes.
And I am having their mom and their dad, although we are not in the same household, my children feel loved. They love their father. And I noticed that me stepping back, allowing him to be their father and not pointing out, you don't do this or you don't do that.
That's right.
That allows him to not only be the father that he is, but allows him to grow and be a better person. And I absolutely love the dynamic that we have now, because again, I might say, I tried in the beginning, don't let the kids do this. Don't let the kids do this. And then I realized, why does it matter? He is their father. Who am I to tell him what he cannot let these children do? And it's even to the point where they're allowed to do some things at their dad's house that they can't do here with mommy. And I say, you know what? He's their father. I am not going to give him a hard time about that. I am not going to give him a hard time about the things that he doesn't do, because again, I realize that what is important is that our children feel loved. That's and my children are so empowered. They have their mother, they have their father. So the fact that we may not be in a household together, it doesn't create such the impact on kids that it normally would, because there is no barrier between them and their father, at any given time, whenever they need something, because I allow him to be their father, and I don't play into a lot of the stereotypes that are expected.
Mm-hmm.
It really creates such a better relationship for us. And regardless of the relationship that he and I may have had in the past,
Yeah.
The reality is that we're family. It's
Speak
unfortunately
about that.
something that, we are
Speak about
family.
that. Good.
Hmm.
Speak about that, because one point I want to make out is when we talk about we talk about, I talk about this with families that I work with, the family dynamic. Even if the mother's not in the home, or the father's not in the house, you
Hmm.
still can be a family.
Hmm.
You still can
Yes.
be a family, even if the children is going over to dad's house or going over to mom's house for the weekend. If you're cohabitating, and you're working together and habitation, as long as those kids are being loved and cared for, even if
Hmm.
it's in two different houses, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be so much the same. Yeah, you're going to have some different rules, like you said, different things that he allowed them to do that you don't allow, but having
Hmm.
that balance. And people feel like it's not, it's not going to happen, or it shouldn't happen.
Hmm.
But that's the stereotype we have to be able to just bust. So let me ask you this, because I want to stay on time. With all that being said, what made you start this particular business for moms? Even though you see a lot of moms, you see
Hmm.
how they might be struggling, what caught your attention? What made you say, I really want to focus my attention on moms and not something else? What made you start this business?
Well, I wanted to focus on moms because just being a mom is such an amazing job. It is a lot, but it's not until you become a mom that you realize how awesome it is, how fulfilling it is,
Mhm.
and I just love being a mom. I really do. It's like one of my favorite things to do. When it's hard, I love it. When it's easy, I love it. So I see that I knew that there was, I had this love of being a mom, but I just had this drive for excellence in me, the drive to just excel and to just do everything that I felt that God has prepared me for, and to utilize the talents that God has given me. And it is so amazing to see that where I am, the talents that I have been blessed with, everything that has happened to me has prepared me for this. And my desire to help moms is because I see that we get so caught up on the struggle that may come along with just being mom and not just single moms, that we forget that we still have a purpose that we get to fulfill on. And I said, you know what? My purpose is I love to speak. I love to communicate. That is just a talent that has to be given to the world. So why not speak to women like me? Why not speak to mothers? Why not speak to single mothers who may feel so burdened by this struggle that they get crushed under it? Because
Yeah.
once you get crushed under the struggle of being a burden, of being a single mother, then everything stops. Your life stops, and your children's lives stop too, because of the inability to balance it. It's like mothers feel like you have to choose. You have to choose your life or your children's life. And that's not the case. I started to notice just organically as I started my healing journey and I started to get better. I noticed that my children were getting better. I noticed that my children were happier because they were seeing me happier. And then
Yes.
I started to realize the power that I have over my children. And I have boys. And I started to realize, hey, this stigma of, first of all, a woman raising a man, a woman can't raise a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain things that I can't show him physically, but there are so many valuable things that I can mentally instill in my boys about the roles that they play as men. I can certainly teach my men that my young kings that they are
Mhm.
protectors. They are providers. They are the warriors. I can definitely teach them all of those things. And again, they are so blessed to have an amazing father. And the
Yeah.
more that I step back and allow him to be their dad, the more amazing it becomes. So, and seeing that and watching this all play out, I said, hey, we can do so much more for our children. We really have this immense power as mothers, literally my sons speak on things that they see. They said that mommy's superpower is business. And it's only been in the past couple of years that I've
Yeah.
started on my journey to being a businesswoman. And my boys are watching,
Yeah.
and they see, hey, mommy has this power, her superpower to be a businesswoman. And I'm like, yeah, so what about you guys? You guys want to be rich? You guys want to be businessmen? And I get to organically instill these things into my boys just because of who I'm becoming and just because of who I'm striving to be. So seeing this, I'm like, moms, you have to know this. You have to see this. We don't have to be burdened by the stereotype of single mother, be burdened by the idea that a woman can't raise a man. Those are fallacies. Those are not true. And I'm just like, look, you got to see, look at me. I'm doing it. We can do it. So that is definitely what drove me to say, go to the mothers, just because of who I am and the transformation that I am able to make.
I love that. Mm-hmm. You're just dropping so many dimes. But one dime that you mentioned, and I want you to just talk about it. I want you to talk to the women for a moment. You talked about your healing journey. Now, you've already stated, you were in that relationship and you made it your choice to leave. But how did you start this healing journey, and where did that healing journey take you?
So what I realized when I was at my very lowest point, and I just love the way that everything comes together. When you have a purpose and you know that you have a purpose, God is just going to lead you in the right direction. There are events that are going to happen to allow you to realize where you are and where you should be. So simultaneously, being in this relationship that wasn't serving me, I lost two sisters myself. And they were young. And I mean, one sister, I was just building a relationship with her. She was 24 years old, single mother as well, passed away. And 3 months later, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife of 20 years. So I say sister-in-law because she's my brother's wife, but she was my sister. She passed away.
I'm so
and
sorry.
It was just, I'm sorry to hear about your sister as well. So, we are so here together for such a reason. So
Definitely.
Watching this, I realized this can't be life. This cannot be life. There has to be so much more, because I know that there's so much more in me. So when I decided to leave, I had no idea what things would look like. I didn't even know what to do, but I knew that I deserved better. So, and what I had to ask myself, I was wondering, why did I allow myself to be brought to this point? What made me feel like I didn't deserve anything better? Those were just questions that I organically began to ask myself. I began to ask myself, and, because I was on this journey, and, once you start to work on yourself, once you start to show God that you want to change, then He's going to swoop in. And it was just a matter of me asking myself these questions. And before I knew it, I started to come in contact with women who were speaking about a healing journey. And I'm like, a healing journey? What is that? So organically, naturally, these other women who were on this journey gravitated towards me and then started to confront me with these issues of, well, how did you get here? Why did you allow yourself to be in this relationship? You need to start to unpack that. And, that is what I did. I started to ask myself those hard questions, started to see that my life was mirroring my mother's life, unfortunately. And I knew that I didn't want that. And I knew that I needed to do the things that she probably didn't get the opportunity to do. And I spent probably about a year, maybe even a year and a half, just working on a lot of journaling, a lot of praying, a lot of meditating on why I would continue to accept less than what I deserved. And the more I started to unpack, the more I realized that, I was just these generational curses. I was living what I seen, and deep down, I didn't feel like I was a person of value. I didn't feel like I was worthy of love. I didn't feel like I was worthy of so much more. But, as I spent this time by myself and, honestly, strengthening my relationship with God, I started to realize, like, hold on. I am God's child. I am this dynamic woman. I have this amazing personality. People love me. No, I am worth so much more. I can be so much more. And then again, being on this journey, I continued to attract women to me who were also on this healing journey, who I could learn from, who shared my similar story, who shared my similar journey. And I kept going deeper and deeper. And then I started to become who I truly am. I was able to unpack all of the things that I was not, to become who I truly was. So the journey started by asking myself, why don't I think I deserve better? Why would I allow this to happen? So the journey started with simple questions of asking why. Why would I allow this to happen? And I am a true believer. And, we don't have to say, we know prayer works, and I tell people all the time, if you don't know, just pray about it. Right. If you need to figure something out, just pray about it. I promise you, one promise I can make to you is that you pray, you will find the answers. So if you find yourself in a situation and you don't know where to start, the fact that you don't know where to go or where to start, you're already on the right path. Pray, ask God. That is, that's the only thing I can say, because that is what works for me. Right. Is asking the right questions and allowing the answers to come to me, allowing the people who would be able to help me on my journey to come to me. And again, as I sit here with you and having this conversation, I know for sure that every single step that I took was the right path, to get me where I am, to be who I am.
I love that. Now, I want you to also speak about, and we're going to move forward. And if you're enjoying this, I need you to share this with someone, share with your sister girl, share with your aunt, your cousin, and all of them, because this is a great conversation. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, this time be interactive. This is just not an interview. I want you to be engaged in the conversation. So please share this on the page. Please share this and send the link out, because this is a great conversation to be a part of. Now, you mentioned generational curses, and you mentioned how women just have to really, see that they want to break that. So talk to to our sisters that are in these generational curses and don't know how to break those generational curses. Like, they want to do it, but they might not know how to do it. What if you had somebody to come to you and say, yes, I want to break this curse off of me, off of my lineage, the ladies in my family, it's on me, but I want to do it, but how can I? What can I do? What should I do? What would you tell that single mom, that woman? What would you tell her?
Well, the first thing that you definitely have to do is start to realize that who you are is not who you are. We are a combination of not nurture or nature, so we are in these situations thinking this is just who we are and we can't change, but we have to realize that a lot of times we are a product of our environment. Right. And that is not who we are. So first is realizing that the person that you are is not truly who you are. And to be somebody different, you're going to have to do different things, because a lot of times we want this change, but we don't want to do anything different. We want to be different people. We want to have this success, but we don't want to take the steps necessary to be successful. First things first, we're going to have to start to be real with ourselves. You want to break the generational curse? What is the generational curse? What about your situation makes you believe that you are living out a generational curse? Because you have to be honest about your situation. And if you can identify the problem, you can fix the problem. So if you can honestly say, the generational curse that you're living out is the fact that you are a single mother. Okay, so now we have to get down to what drove you to make the decision to be with someone who would not be there, who would not stay. What drove you to make that decision? Because you need to get down to the bottom of that so you don't continue to make that same decision. Because if you're a single mother now, what you need to do is figure out why I picked a man who wouldn't stay, heal that so that you don't go on to find another man who's probably not going to stay. So that was another part of the journey for me, was stopping and realizing, okay, I am picking the wrong men.
Yeah.
Why am I picking the wrong men? What is it in me that is allowing me to pick the wrong men? So first things first is identifying what that generational curse is. And it's easy because if your lifestyle is mirroring that of maybe your mother and your aunts, then the chances are you guys are doing a lot of the same things, and something different needs to happen. And understanding that you only have control over one person. I only have control over me. Right. I can influence my boys. I don't even have control over them. You know, I learned that they have their lives to live. I only have control over me. Yeah. And it was about understanding my value as a person. And once I understood the value that I have as a person, then I was able to set the bar higher for me. So now I'm not going to accept less than what I deserve. So I am not going to accept a man who is not going to be there for me. But understanding my journey and where I am, it made it easier for me to see where the guy that I choose to be with, to see where he is, because that's another thing that we are overlooking. We have no standards. We have no boundaries. So when we don't set boundaries and say, hey, I will and will not accept this, that's pretty much telling a person, I am going to accept whatever you give me.
Right.
But when you set those boundaries, you let a person know how they treat you when they meet you. You know, when you set that boundary high, there's some people who are going to turn and walk the other way because they're going to be like, no, right. Because that's not what they're willing to give. But recognition of my own lack of self-worth made it easier for me to recognize that in other people. So now, because I am able to recognize my value, I can see a person who doesn't recognize it in themselves. And now I know that's not somebody that I want to be with, because if they don't value themselves, they're not going to value me. So we have to be honest about what we are, where we are, and who we are, because the more aware we are of self, the better we are able to understand other people. So it has to start with that self-awareness.
And I love that what you said, because it does have to start with us. When we get into these relationships, it is so good and so important to be able to love and admire yourself first. And I'm talking to our sisters, to the women, and I'm talking to the men too. You're like, why are we talking about this? Because it's so important, because a lot of times when we don't know who we are, and we step into this relationship expecting this man or this woman to, I'm going to get in trouble, to save us. I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. We can expect the other person to always save us. Sometimes we got to save ourselves. We got to look at ourselves. We got to look ourselves in the mirror. And we really got to take inventory of our own self. And so when we start taking inventory of our own selves, then we got to see, what do we need to change? What's good about me, right? Because you got to talk about the strengths, but you also got to talk about the weaknesses and what you're not going to be putting up with.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we put up with too much stuff, and then and we allow that man, or we allow that woman just for compatibility. When we're not really looking at ourselves and saying, what can we do to better ourselves? Because my wife, she was a single mother, so that's why I resonate with what you're saying. Because when I met her, she was going to school. I met her in church. That's where I met her. She was going to church. She was going to school full time. She was trying to work. But what I loved about her, it wasn't her busyness. It was her focusedness. Because you could be busy doing the wrong thing and not being purposeful. She was purposeful in a way that she carried herself fine as ever, chocolate skin, all that good stuff. That's just what I like.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the greatest things that I loved about her, the way that she loved her son, which is my son, of course, now, and the way she carried herself. And she wasn't looking for the pat on the back, and she wasn't looking to be in the limelight. She was just a light that just needed, and I felt like I came in at the right time to spotlight and put a spotlight on her attributes. So when I put the spotlight on, she was like, whoa, wow, how did you, well, that's what you like about me, not just how I look. And I said, no, you're beautiful, but I love your internal beauty. And I feel like sometimes we don't look at that as guys. I'm just going to keep it real. Sometimes we just look at the outer and we never look at the inner, and then we complain because we never took time to really get to know the person, the inner that is looking on the outer. So I want to shift, because I know we'll go into this for sure. Maybe that's another conversation we could do. Right. Because this is Women's History Month, I want to ask you a question. Who is your greatest motivation when it comes to Women's History Month, and why?
Wow, my greatest motivation when it comes to women's history. You know what? I love that question. And for me, I'm going to say Harriet Tubman. Okay. And that's because she was when I started my healing journey, she was the matriarch, you know, because she embodied so many qualities that as a woman who led people to freedom. And it wasn't until, you know, I had to sit down and understand this journey that she took to lead people to freedom in the dark, following a star in the sky. I learned she embodied so many traits. And then what I realized while using her as my spiritual matriarch, what I realized was that she was that. And I realized that all of those traits that she embodied, I embodied those traits as well. And knowing that and really understanding, because, you know, you learn about Harriet Tubman when you're a kid and you're in school, but for whatever reason, again, as when I started this journey, everything started to organically attract to me. And when Harriet Tubman, it was just everything I needed, because we were on a similar, you know, she was born into slavery, but she knew that this was not right. She knew that there was a different life that could be lived, and she was willing to take that journey and follow that star in the sky and rely on God and follow her intuition to something better, and not just herself, to lead others, men, women, and children. So it is so Harriet Tubman for me, just the strong Black woman who literally, I'm talking about, led people to freedom. My leading people to freedom is, you know, not a hypothetical, but she's literally leading people out of bondage into freedom. So I have a yellow shirt. It's WWHD. What would Harriet do? And it lists 54 attributes of Harriet Tubman on the back, and they are all, as I was going through this journey and of self-awareness, I was realizing, like, whoa, you know, I have power. I'm consistent. I'm diligent. I embody all of these traits. And as women, we all do. You know, we are, I am her and she is me. And knowing that I could be as impactful, you know, I just love the Harriet Tubman, because also, you know, it's not that she's not your typical person. She's not the typical person that people would expect when you say, you know, who's your idol? What female do you look up to? It's Harriet Tubman. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm glad finally, you know, public school got something right, teaching us about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. You know, they got it right. And I definitely, and it's not about today, a lot of the women that people would like to look up to, it may be about the business aspect, but it's so much more, because again, it's who we are on the inside. It was that inner strength that she had that allowed her to really do something so magnificent on such a large scale. So I love her because I get to embody all of that, and I realize that it's my inner strength that allows me to do everything, and it's the inner strength that I have that I'm going to be remembered for. That's what my boys are going to remember. All the amazing things that I had the inner power and the inner strength and the inner knowing to do. So it's Harriet Tubman for me.
I love that. Mm-hmm. You talked about Harriet Tubman, that she believed for better. Deserve mm-hmm. better. You said that toward the beginning, that mm-hmm. women need to deserve better. Mm-hmm. What if, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate, we got a few more mm-hmm. minutes.
Yeah.
What if somebody believes that they don't believe that they deserve better?
What if they believe? You said, what if they believe they don't deserve better?
Yeah. And, because I'm going to say why. I'm going to tell you why.
And,
what I've been hearing sometimes is, I know I deserve better, mm-hmm. but what I've been getting has changed my mind when it comes to deserving better relationships, but just mm-hmm. who I am. And mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of women, I've heard friends state that they know they deserve better, but first, they don't know how to get it. Second of mm-hmm. all, they're starting to lose that thought of, I deserve better, and then they'll settle. Mm-hmm. How would you speak to somebody that comes to you with that?
Well, because I hear that a lot too. I definitely hear it. And I think that there's this fear that we get so caught up in what we see. They think they deserve better, but sometimes they don't believe that there's better out there. Good. And that's because, again, that is this conditioning. This is the product of our environment, and thinking that everything that we see is all that there is, and, change is different. It's uncomfortable. And if there's a possibility that there may not be better, sometimes you may have to risk being alone. That may have to be a risk, but people are not willing to risk. They don't want to risk being alone. And again, there's a stigma that comes along with being a woman who is single, whether it's a single mother or just a single woman. Yeah. It's a fear of society. It's a fear of that pressure. And we have to realize that fear is fake. It is so fake, because the moment that you step out and you say, no, I deserve better, there's antennas going up in people's heads, and they're realizing, hey, there's a woman out there that realizes her worth and she deserves better. And they start to gravitate towards you. Because while I am single right now, it's definitely by choice, because there's no shortage of qualified men, especially since I've been on this journey. There is no shortage of qualified men now. And I'm like, hey, where were these men before? Well, of course I wasn't attracting it, because I didn't think I deserved better. I didn't think I was, what I was putting out is what I was getting. The minute that I realized I deserved better and decided that I would accept nothing less, those antennas went up on these fantastic, wonderful, eligible men. And now, I have if I so choose to be in a relationship, there's no shortage of wonderful men that I can choose from. But right now, I'm having such an amazing time building my business and interacting with women that, I am not taking a risk. Well, yeah, I guess I'm taking a risk, but it's a risk that I'm willing to take, because I know for sure that God didn't bring me this far for things not to work out. So I'm accepting where I am to work on what I need to, so that when, I am ready for that partner, that, I am able to devote that time to building a strong family. And I know I have a plan, and I know God's plan. So, I know for sure that's not going to be 5 or 10 years from now. It's going to be at the right time. And I know for sure that there is going to be a great man who is going to understand, who's going to see my value, and treat me as such, because again, I see it already, but we have to be willing to take that risk. Just like everything, like in business, you have to be willing to risk being alone, and you're not going to be alone. You're not, because if you desire better, you're going to have it. But I think that there's that fear of single, and all of the negative connotation that comes with single. So take that. There's no fear, and being alone is awesome. You get to watch whatever you want on television. You get to eat whatever you want. You get to go to bed whenever you want. You get to sleep in the whole bed by yourself and have snacks on the other side. Let me tell you, there's some, being alone is, it is empowering, because it's so empowering, and I love my space. And again, you need that time alone to realize who you are and to be you. And because I've had this opportunity to be alone and be me, I know that for sure that I can't be with someone who doesn't allow me to be me, because being me is so comfortable, and I'm so comfortable being me. And now I get to say, this is who I am. Who loves this? Who wants this? And I get to get the person who really loves me for who I truly, truly am.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell the brothers out here that are watching, listen, you got to come through me if you're going to talk to my sister. I'm just joking.
No, yes. We're not making it easy for anyone. We're not making it easy whatsoever.
That's right. Because I'll say this, and we're going to end with this. I feel, first of all, sis, thank you so much. And thank you for all that are watching. This is not going to be the last time you see her. I want to say this to all the single mothers, single ladies out there, even the brothers, but I'm going to talk to the single moms for tonight. Never feel like you're not worth it because you have a child or children. There's going to be a man that's out there that's going to love you for who you are. And you don't have to do any augmentations. I know what I'm saying. Now, be your authentic self. And like she said, be happy. And you know what she said that was so powerful, and we're going to close. I promise we are. She's never closed the door of a healthy relationship with a man. She's just content where she is, and she's building herself and her business and her boys. And I think that the right person is going to be attracted to that, because that's what that particular man needs. Again, going back to my wife, I seen what kind of woman she was, kind of mother. So I said to myself, she's wife material, because she know how to run a house. She know how to pay her bills on time. She's very good with her son. She's very intelligent. So I said, I need somebody like that, not to complete me, but to make me better.
Yeah. He who finds himself a wife finds a good thing.
And obtain a favor. So I'm telling you, I'm dripping with favor. So as we close, Coach Ty, again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
How do we get in contact with you? Please tell me a little bit about what's going on with you. If you have an event coming up, if you have a live, whatever that you're going to have, the floor is yours, and we're going to end with where you are.
Yes. Well, first of all, for the men, if you want to get to me, you have to go through Mr. Pinkston first. There ain't no coming directly towards me. And for all the women, please find me on Facebook, Ty Jackson. I am live every morning at 7 a.m. and I'm giving tips and tricks on, well, I guess they're not really tricks, but tips on embodying your superpower, which is being feminine. Being feminine is our superpower. The world wants to harden us, but be feminine. Be the woman who you are. That is our superpower. So you can find me at LinkedIn. I am Coach Ty. You can find me on Facebook, Ty Jackson, and on the I have my a master class that is coming up. I actually I forget the date. Please follow me on Facebook, because I planned it. I'm a real person. See? So yes, but follow me on Facebook, Ty Jackson, Coach Ty, and you can see everything that I am about. I am building a fantastic community for single mothers to learn how to use your feminine powers and go from single mom to super mom who raised super children.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much. And listen, if you didn't get a chance to listen to this live, put in the comments pound replay and send this to someone, or if you need to listen to it again, I greatly appreciate it. Listen, I'm going to have a brand new guest next week and the week after that, and I'm going to have a special guest at the end of the month. You don't want to miss this guest. There's somebody that I really, really, really know very well. So with that, catch me next week for a better podcast with yours truly, DMP Speaks. And I thank you for all that you have done, your support. Let's do it together. Let's grow your family. Let's get out of here, Ty. Everybody have a great night.
Bye.